Hi guys, Nada here, and this is the GM34-CW, which is a curved 34-inch ultra-wide monitor with a VA panel, Quad HD resolution, 144Hz refresh rate, and both Freesync and G-Sync support. But the most interesting part here is that it's actually made by Cooler Master. So, after decades of making cases, coolers, peripherals, and power supplies, they decided to add monitors to that list, and I would say it's always exciting to see newcomers to the monitor market. Or at least for me. Now they're gonna start with two monitors this year, a 27-inch model and a 34-inch one, like I have here, and both will be aimed at gamers. So this one will cost you around 750 euros or around $700, though I would say there seems to be quite a limited stock in most regions right now, so expect pricing to vary a bit here and there. But either way, given that this is a firstie, it is definitely exciting to have it here and to be able to test it. So yeah, let's see if Cooler Master is bringing something fresh and something interesting to the table, or if there are still some things that they need to work on. Let's go. This video is brought to you by Asus and their ROG Zephyrus G15, an excellent thin and light gaming laptop that offers AMD's new Ryzen 4000 series mobile CPU, up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 GPU, a 240Hz IPS display for that proper gaming experience, and over 8 hours on one battery charge. Get yours using the links in the description below. With so many monitors to choose from, it is important to try and stand out in some way, especially as a new brand on the market, as I would say first impressions are very important. I think Cooler Master's choice to make the monitor base in the shape of their own logo is a great move. It is instantly recognizable, I think it looks great, and it will be a perfect match if you already have their case or their peripherals, for example. They also get points for build quality because it is a well-made screen. The backside has a light gamer aesthetic going on with a bit of branding and a little bit of a purple light, but there is no RGB present and it's not bright enough to light up the wall behind your monitor anyway, so if you want that effect, you will have to get some extra RGB strips. Movement is good, it is height adjustable, it can tilt and swivel, there's no rotation here as it is a curved panel, and technically you can wall mount it if you want to, but I personally feel that the stand is actually one of the reasons to consider this monitor in the first place. Now there are two display ports, two HDMI ports, and a headphone jack on the back. There's no USB hub, which kind of feels odd considering the price of this monitor. Speakers are included and they are okay-ish and they go loud enough for simple use, but per usual, just don't expect miracles from built-in speakers. OSD control is alright, and the OSD itself is actually the same as we've seen on Pixio monitors. It will be good enough for most typical adjustments, but it is very simple and it will lack in some areas. There is only a limited selection of presets, for example, and an sRGB mode is missing, which would be really nice to have given the specs of this monitor. Also, aside from crosshair, there aren't really any other game-enhancing features, so it is quite basic in that regard. But let's go over the standard test results before we talk about the actual use. So the color gamut is excellent with full sRGB coverage and around 92% DCI-P3. It is in line with what they promise, and it's definitely capable of displaying a wide color range. However, Cooler Master also calibrated this to DCI-P3, and the colors are oversaturated if you're looking at the typical sRGB content, with not so impressive scores in accuracy there. Now I do wish they added an sRGB mode by default, but at the end of the day, if you want to do anything color specific, you can just calibrate it yourself. Now the screen can definitely display all the colors, and if you do manually calibrate it and get the accuracy that you need, you will see that the actual panel that they use here is quite good. Now brightness is great with 491 nits at maximum brightness, and it's more than dimmable enough with a minimum white level of under 50 nits. Contrast is below average for a VA panel at around 2400:1, but that's still better than IPS and TN panels. And out of the box, mine was set a little bit colder than the desired 6500 Kelvin. So what is it like to use this monitor? 34-inch 1440p monitors aren't really new, and if you ever worked on one, you know that this type of a monitor is actually great for most tasks. There's enough physical space and pixels to easily put two applications side by side for multitasking, and they've got a good amount of workspace for photo editing or for video editing, for example. But do remember to calibrate your screen first if you plan to do any color sensitive editing here. So I do feel that the factory settings are lacking a bit for that normal day-to-day use. However, when it comes to gaming, it is a completely different story here. The combination of brighter colors and the screen brightness just really shines in games where color accuracy just doesn't matter so much, and a bit of that oversaturation is actually welcome. And those big cinematic games that benefit from an ultra-wide panel like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example, just look fantastic on it. Now, of course, nothing really stops you from playing any game genre here, but anything that benefits from color, brightness, and contrast will do extremely well here. I cannot even imagine, for example, how good Cyberpunk will look when November comes. Now, it is also pretty smooth, partially thanks to the support for Freesync and for G-Sync, allowing it to sync with any modern GPU and avoid that terrible screen tearing. But also because of the general responsiveness of the panel. I don't have the tools to accurately measure response times yet, but it does feel fast for a VA panel, and there is no significant ghosting even in faster games. Now, it cannot really keep up with the 240Hz IPS monitors, and there's always a little bit of smearing in really dark scenes like with any VA panel. But if you compare it with both other VA panels and to most other ultra-wides, I actually think it performs well above average. Since this is a DisplayHDR 400 branded monitor, we do have to talk about HDR, unfortunately. And if you've seen any of my other monitor reviews, you will know that this label doesn't really mean much. Now, a good HDR experience relies on three things: high brightness peaks, great contrast with the help of some form of local dimming, and a wide color gamut. Now, this monitor definitely has colors for it, but it doesn't really need HDR mode to show them. Peak brightness also isn't really higher in HDR mode than it is in the SDR mode, and since there is no local dimming technique, it means that the HDR here just doesn't add much, if anything. Now, it is worth experimenting with it. You can try it in games and you might like it in some and dislike it in others, but you should definitely not buy this monitor for this feature alone. And that about sums it up for today. It is pretty nice for a firstie. It's a well-built monitor, it has a very good panel, it offers great performance with plenty of color, plenty of brightness, and a good sense of speed. And support for both Freesync and G-Sync is something a lot of cheaper ultra-wide monitors do not have. But there are definitely some things that Cooler Master needs to improve on. For example, add some more features like software control over the OSD, like a couple of extra modes that will actually help gamers, like fine-tune some modes that don't work well, and add some extra modes for some creative use here. So the panel itself does really great with colors, but the fact that serious content creators will have to manually calibrate the panel right away before they use it should be avoided, in my opinion. Now, I think the main issue here is actually the price. So fast, decent ultra-wide monitors start around $500 or euros, while this one will cost you $700 or 750 euros, which is considerably higher. And there are just a lot of really good monitors in general that will cost you less. Now, considering that this is an excellent panel quality, Cooler Master doesn't have to be the cheapest, but if you're willing to pay a premium, you probably just want some of those extra features that others have and that are just missing here. But I think that the main target audience is a bit different as well. It just feels like more of a novelty item for anyone that's looking to brand match their entire setup. Now, Cooler Master also showed off their new height adjustable desks and chairs with the matching design and those logo details. And if you match it all together with your Cooler Master case and your peripherals, it just looks exceptional. So I don't think it's fair to expect from a smaller monitor maker to compete with LG, for example, when it comes to pricing. So making something like this that kind of fits their own fan base instead just makes more sense, in my opinion, even if it costs a bit more. And there are a lot of people out there that want their setups to look on point and that are willing to pay a bit more for that. So if that's what you're after, just go for it. It is a pretty good monitor after all. Now that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give me a like and click that subscribe button to never miss an upload. Bye guys.